And I want to hit you with an idea here just to think about a little bit. Is it fair to ruin the enjoyment of a current career because it may not rise to the level of a past career? And the reason why I ask this is much of the NBA since Michael Jordan has been characterized by the question of, can anybody ever rise up to Jordan's level of dominance? Kobe was the first guy, I would say, that was really potentially going to be the next Jordan, right? There were other guys who got trotted out there, Allen Iverson, but Kobe was the first guy who came into the league and people started to say, hey, this dude, he could be the next Jordan, right? But for the entirety of LeBron James's career, it feels like this never-ending argument of, is LeBron going to be the next Jordan? Will he eclipse Jordan? And what I would just ask you is this. Are we destroying the enjoyment of current sports by trying to argue about past sports? And where did this debate take hold? Because I don't really remember it existing on any kind of level as much when I was a kid. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I kind of remember as a young kid people talking about Mike Tyson and comparing him with Muhammad Ali. On a certain level, I vaguely remember that conversation. But I don't remember when Jordan was rising to his level of excellence, somebody complaining incessantly about Michael Jordan compared to Bill Russell or Wilt Chamberlain or whoever the person was. And so I've got a question. I'm going to expound upon this a little bit to start the third hour of the program. Are we stealing the fun of current sports by insisting on dragging current sports eternally back into the past? Because I can already see us going down this path with Mahomes versus Brady. At some point, maybe it's going to be 5 years from now based on the way Brady is playing, Brady is going to end his career and Mahomes will still be playing, right? Barring some sort of cataclysmic event for Patrick Mahomes' health. Tom Brady is going to finish his career, and then it'll be Patrick Mahomes' turn on the stage without Brady there to compete against. Are we not going to enjoy Patrick Mahomes because people are constantly going to be comparing him to Tom Brady? Because I think there's an element out there of people that haven't enjoyed LeBron James's career as much as they would have if there had never been any discussion about Michael Jordan. In fact, think about how much different we would talk about LeBron James if Michael Jordan had never existed. And think about how we might talk about Patrick Mahomes if Tom Brady had never existed. Basically, what I'm asking is, why did we start this intergenerational comparison and turn it into the entire defining feature of younger athletes' careers? And is it really the best way to appreciate and enjoy modern athletics? I don't remember it being this overwhelming component of sports when I was a kid. And I understand we all want to compare eras. Babe Ruth compared to Hank Aaron compared to Barry Bonds, Willie Mays compared to Mike Trout. I understand that desire to try to contextualize and put into categorization different players over the years. But when did it start to become the overriding dominant narrative of current sports? What if Michael Jordan never plays basketball? What if he grows up a huge baseball fan, never steps in, who knows, maybe he ends up a decent baseball player, maybe he's a mediocre baseball player, never actually plays much basketball? doesn't win 6 titles, never, ever plays in the NBA. How much different do we talk about LeBron James, and how much different are so many of the Jordan-era basketball player legacies? Think about it. Karl Malone, John Stockton, they win multiple championships. Charles Barkley wins a couple of championships. Probably Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, probably win championships. Instead of one guy soaking up all of the 90s era glory, with the exception of the Houston Rockets, we'd basically be talking about an era in the NBA where there are a lot of good teams. Patrick Ewing, John Starks, NBA champions probably. A lot of different teams win those titles, and we don't sit around worried about comparing LeBron James to anybody. Because Clyde Drexler, by the way, Portland Trailblazers probably win a title. Because there's nobody out there who is anywhere near as good as LeBron James. How much different does LeBron James carry himself? How much different is the NBA overall in the way that it responds to LeBron James if the ghost of Michael Jordan isn't looming over everything that LeBron James has done? Talked a little bit about earlier in the show how sometimes you cannot recognize excellence while it's happening because you're too wrapped up in thinking nostalgically that you're not thinking about the present moment. And I wonder, this is a big question, one we can't answer right now. I wonder how much of Tom Brady's excellence is going to loom over Patrick Mahomes, much like Jordan looms over right now LeBron James. Think about this matchup. Now, the difference is, obviously, we never got to see Jordan go up against LeBron. They were too far apart generationally. But right now, we got to see Tom Brady play against Patrick Mahomes on Sunday. How much of that discussion leading up to the performance of that game dealt with whether Patrick Mahomes might be able to one day be the GOAT himself? Huge percentage, right? A monstrous amount of what we talked about was not about Patrick Mahomes in the moment today. It was about what Patrick Mahomes might look like in the distant mists of history in the years and years to come. We debated already Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady when the idea, frankly, is patently absurd. It also is distracting already from our ability to enjoy Patrick Mahomes in the moment itself. See, I think Brady is in danger of looming over the NFL and all quarterbacks in the NFL the same way that Michael Jordan looms over the NBA and all players in the NBA. Because once you establish a standard of greatness and no one is arguing about it anymore, then everything is about how you measure up to that greatness. How is that paragon of excellence matched or unmatched going forward? And how much of the enjoyment of LeBron's career has been stripped away by the incessant, overwhelming, impossible to escape comparison of every single thing that LeBron James does to Michael Jordan? Now, there are culprits out there. People who have made their entire careers off of having the same debate every day, all day, every day. Are those same people going to construct a narrative that is built around Patrick Mahomes, where every single step he takes is immediately compared, cataloged, analyzed, discussed, only in its relation to how it would have compared to Tom Brady? I think that is such an interesting question. Because if that does in fact end up happening, if we turn Mahomes Brady into a latter-day Jordan LeBron, I think we failed. Because it's taken away our ability to enjoy the excellence that could be Patrick Mahomes. See, a lot of people are not able to enjoy LeBron James's talent because they're so worried about the Jordan versus LeBron argument. how much of Patrick Mahomes' incredible talent is going to end up getting sucked into the black hole of discussion surrounding Brady versus Mahomes. Now, look, here's the deal. I think it's going to be awfully hard for anybody in our lifetime to ever rise up to the level that Tom Brady's in right now with 10 Super Bowls, winning 7 of them. Especially because Brady's career's not even over yet and could be extending into the future, in which case we'll all be sitting around like, my God, he's now at 11. He's now at 12. He's Benjamin Button. He's 54 years old, and he's still playing. I don't know where this all ends, but what I would tell you is I hope that we can avoid getting sucked into Patrick Mahomes being entirely defined by how he compares to Tom Brady. Because John Elway's a pretty amazing quarterback. Joe Montana's a pretty amazing quarterback. Peyton Manning was a pretty amazing quarterback. There are lots of great and incredible quarterbacks out there that don't need to have their careers constantly overshadowed by someone else.